Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Eagle Eye podcast. I'm your host, Ivan Pineda. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Dylan Jimenez. Hello.
Hello, man. How you doing?
Good. It's Tuesday. Hope everyone got their tacos and hope everyone's ready because, boy, do we have a show tonight. Obviously, coming off a result against Pachuca, we'll be digesting and dissecting that game as well. We'll go through everything that we thought went well, what went bad, and what needs to change. Because, of course, as we all know, this Sunday we have the first Clasico of the year against Pumas. So the Clasico Capitulino were away. So lots and lots to talk about. Hopefully everyone is having a great Tuesday and a great week at that as well. Hopefully you guys are ready and tuned in. And let's jump straight in. So this Saturday was our first home match against Pachuca in the Estadio Azteca. The big news was whether or not we would see any of the refuerzos in the bench. They said no. They were in the tribunas. But let me get your thoughts and your emotions going into this matchup right before the first half whistle.
Game, right? I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I missed the first half. I couldn't catch the first half, so I didn't start watching the game until about so, and it was kind of like back and forth there to me because I was also eating at the same time while I was watching the game. So I was looking back at the TV. So not being able to watch the whole game kind of throws me off a little bit. And really giving a good say into how I feel about the game and how I feel about the whole squad overall. It looked pretty overall from what I saw, but there were just too many mistakes at the same time, especially in the back line, and especially from seeing that Edson Alvarez, not having a good game at all. One thing I kind of want to bring up in this podcast too is questioning the consistency of the back line and who's going to be the consistent performer that we're going to see, who's going to play week in and week out.
Yeah, I think it's actually something that we should note. It's very early in the season as of now. It is only our second game into 2018 and into this tournament. So for us to start losing our heads, maybe not just yet, but there is that daggering question: exactly who is going to be the back line and who's going to be that consistent starter. Of course, everyone was missing Pablo Aguilar, especially the way that the result ended up going. So let's just go in and let's talk about the matchup. I know you didn't get to see the first half incomplete. Of course, you had a couple of things going on. You say you jumped in around the 50th minute, but lineups came out, and what were your thoughts? Let me read it out to you. So in goal we had Marchesín. The back four was Pablo Aguilar, Bruno Aguilera, Vargas. It looked like we were going to go with a solid a four-man midfield, which looked like it was going to be Renato, Mateus Uribe, Guido, Darwin, and then up top we had Henry and Peralta. So what were your initial thoughts when you saw that lineup?
I felt like it was a strong lineup. It was a lineup that was going to take us to get 3 points, being our first home game. And it was a good lineup. It was a solid lineup. It's just, questions are kind of concerning, what went wrong in this formation.
I think when the lineup came out too, I think everyone was pretty much in okay because it is the best lineup that we can put out with the players that we have at the moment. Of course, we still have two great players to add to this team, and whether or not they'll fit in the system, we'll have to wait for Miguel Herrera to figure that out. But at the time being, it looked like it was a good lineup, except there was one thing or one player, one key difference in this squad, and that was the iteration of Daron Quintero, which it looked like he was going to play on the left wing. But after everything started going, it looked like he sort of kind of drifted towards the middle and kind of had a free roam area. Not really a center attacking mid and not really a center forward. It looked like Henry Martin then drifted off to the wide wing on the left, just the way he did against Querétaro. And after that, it looked like it was more of a 4-2-1-3 because Renato, of course, iterated himself up forward too. So let me just run down the first half exactly how things went. America started off lively. America started off strong, and after just a minute and 30 seconds into the match, we get a penalty. Of course, Henry Martin does well to get himself in front of the defender, gets taken down, referee blows the whistle. Now, at that stage, at that point, you think, perfect, this game is going exactly how you want it to go. And then up steps Oribe Peralta, your captain. Great. That's the one person you want taking a penalty, someone who is confident on the ball and someone who can definitely give you a result. And he goes up, takes the penalty, and then, like most of us know, he misses the penalty. Now, the first thing that comes to your mind is frustration. Why? Because this has been going on from last season and the season previous. There is no penalty taker in America. There is no one player who can come in and take that. So I know you didn't see that, but if you were to see that at the moment and you saw Oribe Peralta miss in the first 2 minutes of the matchup, what could be the first goal, and that could, really turn the game on its head, what would your thoughts have been?
Like you said, he's a captain. I'll iterate it the most. I'll say it over and over and over. This is the guy that led the team in goals last tournament. This is the guy that you need to see the leadership and for people to follow. And just for that penalty, it's probably frustrating. It's probably a little upsetting too. The guy that is leading this team and that Piojo trusts in leading this team. And so, it's not something that you want to see. You want to see your captain, performing at his best. And, we didn't get to see Oribe perform possibly at his best yet so far, even though despite him scoring a goal in this game.
Good mention. Good mention. We'll talk a little bit more about Oribe Peralta. I think he fits into a category of those players who maybe lacked in that matchup and didn't really show that he was the brightest player of the bunch. But we'll discuss that towards the end of this match review. So, like you mentioned, Oribe Peralta then gets on the scoreboard a little bit later. It's I believe on the 13th, 15th minute of the match. Around that time, Renato Ibarra does a great run. Is able to maneuver past a couple players and then slaughters a good ball outside the 18-yard box for it, but to just kind of curve that ball in. Great goal, and you think to yourself, yes, we're back in this. Oribe Peralta's back in this. We're made from our mistakes. We looked the better team from those opening 15 minutes of the matchup. I want to say opening 20. It looked like America knew what they needed to do. It looked like they were motivated. There was a passion, and you just saw the way that they were playing. After the goal, it just seemed like everything just crashed afterwards. We saw time and time again America get dispossessed off the ball. They did not know how to cope with Pachuca's pressure. This is a Pachuca that defended from the opening 15 minutes of the matchup. And once they got caught off with America's speed, they knew that they had to go and attack America. They made us nervous. They made us look sloppy. And each individual pass that had to go in the final third, it looked like we could not get a good ball through. Pachuca pushed us and kept us inside our own field for about another 20 so minutes because it looked like Pachuca were the better side at the end of the first half. If it wasn't for the facts of Marchesín and a post, I mean, Pachuca could have definitely gone into that game leading 2-1. That's not to say that we didn't have our chances. Henry Martin had a very good opportunity to put the ball into the back of the net towards the end of the first half, and Darwin Quintero, yes, Darwin Quintero, almost had himself a goal. As crazy as that does sound, off a free kick. So we had opportunities, but it was not good enough. Pachuca were outright the better team in the first half and maybe in the whole game, I would want to say. We looked nervous, and I think the worst part about it was America started looking really, really bad after Paul Aguilar left. So Paul Aguilar gets looks like he pulls a hamstring or something. Just kind of asks for a sub right away, and it's an Alvarez then of course comes in. He not to play his most natural role, which is center back or center defensive mid, but to play a role that he's had to play previously under Ricardo Lavolpe and a little bit under Juan Carlos Osorio as right back. Right away you could see that this kid was not having it. Just absolutely was a little bit lost, whether it was position, whether he was not ready, or whether there is things outside the pitch that are keeping his mind off the game. he wasn't deemed to start, and I think we saw exactly why. He was not up to par. I know this is quite of a shocking thing because you and I hail Edson Alvarez to the utmost, just like most Americanistas do. And to see him struggle like this, we'll talk a little bit more about what happened. He just kept getting dispossessed. So, um, like I was mentioning, America loses the ball prematurely. We can't get anything going, and it looks like for the most part, Pachuca will equalize. We get lucky enough. Ref blows the whistle after 45 minutes. We are still on top. What do you think the halftime team talk is from Miguel Herrera to his players, knowing that you have the 1-0 advantage, but you don't deserve it, and you're getting outplayed in your own stadium?
If it was me, I would have to tell him, guys, we got to hold possession. We got to pass better. We got to play better. As a team. Sure. Obviously, they needed an insurance goal too, which was later from Henry Martin. And but it came like a later time. Because I believe it was already 1-1 by the time Henry Martin scored, and you
Yeah.
needed that goal way before Pachuca scored. If going 2-0 up is totally different from going up. And so, better possession, better football playing from the team, which we kind of really didn't see either. It was kind of the same for first half, as apparently from what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. And to any of those who do follow us on Twitter and did follow us through the live tweet, you guys saw my halftime thoughts and reaction were if America wants to hold on to this lead, if they want to pursue and win this game, America has to come out the same way they came out in the first half. They have to come out strong, willing, and focused. They have to get the ball, retain the ball, and make Pachuca work for it. Pachuca was the one moving the ball. America had to be doing that because at the end of the day, America looked the more tired team because Pachuca made it so that they were the more tired team. Pachuca moved the ball around. America had to chase the ball. If that was another way around, we could have easily seen an America victory of 3-4 goals easily because, I mean, the team had it in them. The team definitely had it in them, but it looked like their spirits broke towards the end of the second half. But let's move on and let's talk about the second half because this is a very very important part of the game. First, second half kicks off. It takes only about 2 minutes for Pachuca to get themselves on the ball and press America back in. They win a corner, and off a corner, America gets scored on. Of course, well, I think Marchesín definitely has the biggest blame in this goal. I don't know if were you able to watch? Were you able to see the highlight of that goal?
Yes, I did see the highlight goal. It's disappointing to see Marchesín make that mistake a little bit. This is probably arguably one of the best keepers in the Liga MX with America, and just to see a person of that elite make that kind of mistake is kind of disappointing a little bit. Because this is our number one keeper. This is the guy that Munoz's spot. And so, you want to see this guy perform week in, week out. Keep the mistakes as minimal as possible. This is a mistake that could have been avoided.
Yeah, yeah, it was frustrating, but and more because he had an amazing save in the first half, absolutely amazing save. So for him to do this in the second half, it was frustrating. It was like, what's going on? You obviously are mad at Marchesín, but you also have to look back at that play. It's impossible to think that straight after a couple of minutes off of kickoff, Pachuca is able to get the ball into your half and pressure you so much that you give away a corner kick. And granted, anything can happen, and of course, unfortunately, Marchesín has that mistake. But at the end, it's a collective group effort, and I think the team definitely looked pretty bad on that. So yeah, Pachuca score, and it just doesn't look any better for America after that. You think there'd be an initial reaction where things get better, but it doesn't seem to be the case. America's still losing the ball. America are still not looking their best side, and again, Edson Alvarez looks very, very poor. There was moments where he was trying to play the ball and just kind of run out the line in his own half, in his own third, and Pachuca would just steal that ball. And if it wasn't for Pachuca's not that good choice in the final third pass, I think America could have easily lost this game a lot more worse than actually getting a draw off of this. So we pick it up around the 50th minute of the match. That's when you get to start watching the game. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking once you're seeing how America's playing at this point?
Now it was frustrating, because after I got done doing what I'm doing, I go and pick up my food, and then that's whenever we kind of talked about um we see the goal lit up so early, 1 2 minutes into the game, and it's I'm already frustrated to see that. I'm like, how are we going to give up a goal so quickly? And the second half has started, and so after seeing the game going on and going on, it was just frustrating to see dispossess after dispossessed, every player getting dispossessed, and Edson wasn't making it even better for me, seeing this kid like you said that me and you praise and stuff like that. So it was frustrating overall, and then it seemed like it was going to get a little better after that Henry Martin goal, but then the pressure kept coming. Edson made that mistake, letting in that goal and it was just a frustrating overall.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. It was frustrating because this was an America that lacked any form of possession, which in a game against Pachuca, you needed to hold on to that ball. We saw that this was an issue again in the Querétaro game. It was the first game of the season. We kind of made it slide by, like, okay. But now you see this again happening in your own stadium against a rival that you, in theory, should be beating against the way they performed in in their first matchup. Um, but that's it. I mean, you have only yourself to blame for. Of course, it looked like things started to get better after Darwin Quintero came off the pitch for Joe Benny Corona. Again, a situation where Darwin did almost absolutely nothing to contribute to the squad except that free kick, and that's it. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's frustrating, and we'll talk more a little bit about Darwin's situation with America, but at the end of the day, it was sad just to see how poor Daron Quintero is performing at this stage of the season. So Giovanni Corona comes in. We get another player to kind of help out in the midfield, so Guido isn't so by himself, which gives more of a liberty of Mateo Uribe to utilize his wing and what he prefers to do, which is play out wide and go forward. Which we saw him get the ball. It looked like he was hungry just as much as Henry Martin was. Of course, Henry Martin did not have the brightest of games in the first half. It looked like he was losing a little bit the ball too easily. Did not make a couple of runs and was kind of misinterpreting what the body language of his teammates. But let's run down the goal. I think the goal is a very very good goal because it shows a lot of determination and passion from both Uribe and Henry. So Mateus Uribe gets the ball and just whips a ball down the line into the 18-yard box. At this point, I think I don't know about what your opinion is, but I think at this point a Leon player is gonna come and just clear that ball. It looks like there's no one really in there to finish it off. But off the corner of my eye, I see Henry Martin just kind of just sprint. Like he just full on sprints, beats his defender, gets to the ball in front of him, and finishes it off to score the 2-1 victory. From there, that goal really spoke a lot about Henry Martin's not only character, but exactly what it means to him, and what it means for him to be playing at this level with this team, and what he's willing to do to contribute to the squad. So the goal meant a lot more than just getting that 2-1 victory, that 2-1 advantage. It meant that it was a Henry Martin that is determined to shut all the naysayers and win himself a starting position in this side. So what was your initial reaction when the goal went in?
Um, yeah, I was excited, man. That's whenever I thought, man, things are gonna pick up a little bit. We're actually gonna hold possession more. We're gonna hold this. It's I thought it was kind of almost done. We're gonna win 2-1. But yeah, I mean, you see Henry Martin, this guy's eating, man. This guy's hungry, man. And just coming from Cholos, got a little excited to have him too as well. And we've seen him perform week in week out almost, with his goal last week and then the goal against Pachuca too as well. This guy's in form right now. We gotta play him.
Yeah, yeah, you can definitely see the kid is hungry, and I love that about him. He is not proven. He is not determined. People are not determined to give him that time of day, but he has proven himself, and I just hope he keeps going in this form because he reminds me a lot of a certain Raul Jimenez who kind of was hungry too, and look what happened to him. So I feel like if Henry Martin can keep going and just keep going and stay hungry, I think we can see the best out of Henry Martin. And I think you're right. It painted out for us to get that victory. The goal came in the 75th minute, which meant there was only 15 minutes for America to hold out. All America had to do was literally hold the ball, touch it around, let Pachuca chase you. A space will be open, and you can score another goal, which almost kind of happened. I think Cecilio Dominguez came in for Renato Ibarra around the almost 80th minute of the match, and Cecilio Dominguez almost had himself a goal. But, again, another player that did not look up to par. Cecilio Dominguez kind of lost the ball a little bit too much. His runs were not perfect. Had a pretty good shot that Blanco was able to save. But besides that, America still let off. America still let Pachuca get the ball, and America were still very, very sloppy in the final third and in the midfield. Whereas Pachuca decided that they were not gonna, settle down and take the L, and they, pushed forward. They made America nervous. They pressured us, and look what happened. We get sloppy, you know. And Pachuca's goal comes in at 88th minute off a cross where Edson Alvarez, as the right back, should be picking up the winger coming in. Does not. He is marking his center back zone. So he wasn't even man marking at that point. He was zonal marking. And you can see that he was so focused and he's so used to that position that he wasn't able to break off of that and see that there was a man coming in from behind, because he usually has Paul Aguilar right there. So he has not to worry about anything. So of course he lets off his man. The Pachuca player then heads it back in for Victor Guzman, who just kind of just hits it a little bit funky, and the ball creeps in, and it's 2-2, and the game ends at you know just a couple minutes after that. Pachuca almost had themselves a third goal if it wasn't for a great Marchesín save, but it's 2-2. What I want to get your thoughts on the Pachuca second goal and what you thought about Edson's marking at that point, and then your thoughts and feelings once the final whistle went and we get that 2-2 result.
Oh yeah, I mean, really upsetting, to see that. See such a good kid that me and you praise. This kid's as old as me. He's 20 years old. I'm 20 years old. So I mean, this kid's the next big thing. Possibly plays Hector Moreno on that back line. But he's so versatile too as well. It's just that how many times has he got reps with this team? Right there, besides whenever La Volpe was with him. Like put in the spot real quick. He didn't go into this game saying, "Oh, Paul Aguilar's going to get hurt. I'm going to go play right back." So it's disappointing at the same time, but at the same time, bad game. It's still early in the tourney too as well, and it sucks to see America Twitter go off, wanting Edson's head just for this. I mean, I understand why you would be upset about it, but it's just one game. I feel bad for the kid. I wouldn't want no hate tweets coming at me if that was me. I know that for sure.
So do you think that the fans should maybe let off a little bit, or do you think they have the right to kind of be saying, hey, uh, you know, what the f, Edson Alvarez? What do you stand on this? Because a lot of people, like you said, a lot of people were calling for Edson Alvarez's head in a sense. So I know you say that they should take it easy, but do you think that they have at least this? Are they in the wrong to ask of Edson for better, or not?
No, I mean, I wanted the same thing too, because you see him have such a great tournament last tournament too, in the Aventura, and so you don't want to see these kids making mistakes. This guy's probably going off to Europe here pretty soon, and probably because of the position he was playing too as well, him playing right back, but like that too much. We've seen him play with La Volpe, and then we've seen him playing with the national team too as well. But I mean, like this is his first game back of the season. You know, he's making debut in the season, and you're gonna stick him in whenever Barguila goes down as such right about in the middle of the first half. You know, it just seems kind of like he's a little bit, not necessarily like he's barely making his first start, or barely making his first sub in, but I'm like, it's his first game back. Maybe he just wasn't prepared as much to him thinking, oh, I'm going to play right back today. Maybe he wanted to see some time at midfielder or this see back line, next to Aguilera or possibly Valdez too as well. And so, I mean, yeah, I mean, I get the point. You're upset. This kid probably blew us the lead. I mean, who knows what would have happened? Really, we can't really say that. He blew us the lead, but I mean, at the same time, and send him back to the U20s too as well. I mean, like, I don't want to see this kid go back to U20s. This kid has quality to play first team football. I mean, we've seen that before, and we're just gonna blame him over one game, just have him sent back to the U20s. I mean, I think he needs to stay with first team football. I mean, I'm not going to complain about him over one game, even though he's had such a bad game.
Well, that's true. I mean, there's also a thing to note that he is only 19 years old. So, I mean, granted, yeah, I mean, he does have you do make a point where, he's only a kid, cut him a little slack. But at the same time, I like the fact that people are on his back. He knows what institution he's playing for. He knows that the fans are very passionate, and that they demand results, and that if you're a player who has shown talent and form, there is really no excuse as to why you can't perform day in and day out if that is your job. I get that from that point of view from the fans, because as we're both fans, and we both want to see the players who step on that pitch give everything for that jersey. And I think Enson Alvarez is one of those players who do. Now, of course, there was a reason why he wasn't in the starting 11. Miguel Herrera did not deem him fit for the match. Not to say that he was out of shape or anything, just he was not match ready in Piojo's eyes. And I think Piojo was correct to leave him out. Who knows exactly what was going on? I know Miguel Herrera spoke out today saying, because a lot of people said that Ansel Alvarez was, not ready because of his new girlfriend, and that he was going to be sidetracked because of her and this and that. And okay, but I think it's fair to say that you can separate, your personal life away from your, career as a soccer player. You have 90 minutes on the pitch where you give everything that it is to play. And then outside of that, then, you have the right to enjoy your life. And that's what Piojo Herrera said. He said, I'm not going to say, no, don't have a girlfriend. He can do what he wants. But I also ask of him to be match ready, to be 100% focused. And like you mentioned, this is a kid that a lot of people wanted him in Europe, and it ran throughout this whole January transfer window too. Edson Alvarez could possibly leave America, so that also got into his head a little bit. Piojo Herrera said so. The the coaching staff sat down, and Miguel Herrera talked to Edson Alvarez. They spoke, and he set him straight. He told them, look, you're going to be here. You're going to be committed 100%. When the time comes for you to leave to Europe, we will not say no to that. But at this point, you're an America player. You should focus and be 100% dedicated as an America player, and kind of not have, those outside thoughts. And I think it's important for us to note that, because he is only 19 years old. I mean, what 19-year-old would not be distracted with, if they were to say, like, this big European team is looking for you? I mean, it's granted to say, I think anyone would be tempted to as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I mean, just like, he can't be just so distracted.
Yeah, yeah.
Like me and you have praised him. We've talked good about this guy, but it just sucks to see him have such just one bad game, and then people just already call for his head. And some people want to see him back to the U20s, and maybe and not necessarily like you said physically fit and like that, but like, what would happen maybe if Hurt and Edson and Miguel Herrera decided to sub him in with like 30 minutes, 20 minutes to play? Could we have seen another different performance from Edson?
Yeah, yeah. I think the fact that it's all mental at some point. It's you coming in 30 minutes to go and you probably have a result and you're gonna be playing either center defensive mid or center mid or center back. Excuse me. You go in and you kind of say, okay, yeah, this is definitely my position. But I think the fact that he was brought into the right back position and brought in so early into the match, it might have set him off a little bit. But still, you want to see this kid perform. You don't want to see him get dispossessed off the ball so easily, making rookie mistakes. I know he is still technically a rookie, but there are stuff that you expect someone who just got promoted from the U20s mistakes to make, and there is the type of mistakes you kind of make sometimes in the games. But he was making those kind of rookie mistakes that you would not see from Edson Alvarez. Of course, we are kind of blowing this a little bit out of proportion. It's only one game. He did get subbed in right away. The kid was not definitely ready. Let's give it until next game. He probably will start because it looks like Pablo Aguilar is not going to be in for the Pumas game. So it looks like Edson Alvarez could be starting at right back. If not, probably Bruno Valdez and push him into the center back position role, Edson. So the result is in. It's 2-2. Are you frustrated? Are you mad? What are your thoughts after the referee blows the final whistle?
You can ask anybody in my house. Kind of banged against the table, seeing that go in to tie it up. So just frustrated overall. One thing that I kind of bring up, is like in this back line, who are gonna be the players to consistently play week in, week out, and give a good performance week in and week out too as well. Because looking through comparing stats between the Querétaro game and the Pachuca game, and the only player that stands out to me that's been pretty consistent is Aguilera.
Really? Really?
Yeah, because okay, I got the stats from the Querétaro game. Aguilera has a 7.0 rating from the Querétaro game, and he had 4 clearances, 3 interceptions, 2 tackles, and 89% passing rating with the 7.0 match rating overall.
Okay.
And comparing to the Pachuca game, he had a 7.2. So it's just I don't who's gonna be the consistent, and it's just him that sticks out to me so far. I can't really say anything about Barguilad, because Barguilad obviously injured he didn't get to play the full 90 minutes like we know he would. Bruno kind of had a 6.3 match rating against Querétaro. 7.4 against no wait, I had those backwards. He had a 6.3 against Pachuca, but a 7.4 against Querétaro. And then Carlos Vargas ended with a 6.7 and a 7.6 against Querétaro. And I just want to just being the consistency, if it's just who's gonna be consistent, who's gonna play week in and week out. That's just my question, because I want to see somebody who's gonna keep the clean sheet, and
yeah.
Can we say the clean sheet was there for against Pachuca? I mean, possibly could, maybe if we weren't getting dispossessed and everything, and having mistakes in the back line and in the midfield a little bit, being dispossessed and keeping possession.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point to point out. I think we don't have a starting center backs partnership just yet. One, the fact that it looks like Edson Alvarez might fit in that center back role. He might fit in the center defensive mid role. We don't know yet. It's too early to tell. Unfortunately, Paola Aguilar gets injured. That throws things off a little bit. Miguel Herrera said it's not a big injury. They do not want to risk him against Pumas. They want to give him that rest. So it should be interesting to see how is our back lineup gonna go. I would want to say that the partnership is gonna be Bruno and Aguilera. But hear me out. I would not be surprised if we end up going to a back 5 and we see Edson, Bruno, and Aguilera.
Okay, and you would keep Carlos Vargas on the left still?
Yeah, you definitely keep Vargas on the left, and then
who'd be on the right?
Paul Aguilar when he's fit on the right.
Right, okay.
When he's fit, yeah.
Okay, so I guess we could talk about a possible lineup whenever we get to the previewing the Pumas match too as well.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk lineups then. Um, I think just to close this out, what are your final thoughts overall about this Pachuca game?
Frustration,
Just
or
frustration. Yeah,
frustration, just frustration.
yeah. Everyone can agree with that. Frustration. Um, I think at the end of the day, it's 2 points dropped rather than a point gain. I mean, if you want to be a little bit more optimistic, we're still unbeaten. 4 points out of six is not the worst start in the world. We at this point in the Apertura we only had 3 points. So I mean, kind of take that as you want it. Um, Obviously, should have done better, could do better, and hopefully will do better. Um, at the end of the day, yeah, I guess I end on the same note. Frustrating, very frustrating. America should have taken away 3 points, especially you're at home. I mean, give the fans at least that much. Um, Unfortunately, the team looked also very tired, very fatigued, very lazy towards the end of the game. So I hope that's getting worked on. And yeah, I guess just kind of it just sucked really. So hopefully America can do better. We have the Clasico Capitulino, which we will jump to after we talk transfers. So I guess that's a good way to shift over to the fact that we have some players that will probably not be leaving this season. Obviously, the big names that were many people were calling for was Silvio Romero and Darwin Quintero. It looked like on the last podcast we almost were assured that Silvio Romero was going to go to River Plate. It turns out that River Plate did not want to fork up the cash right away. They wanted to make payments, like if Silvio Romero was a car, and wanted to pay him off after a certain amount of years. And America, of course, said no, we are not a dealership, and kind of just ended their contracts there. Um, it was frustrating because you thought Silvio Romero was going to go. River Plate then comes up with this. Did you hear about that, or am I barely informing you about this?
No, you're barely informing me about this. That's the first I've heard of that.
So, what are your thoughts? I mean, Silvio Romero looked like he was almost going to River Plate. Now, the only real team that's lining up for Silvio looks like to be Independiente, but they're not looking to fork out so much cash for the Argentinian.
Yeah, it's just interesting because you don't see Romero on the bench the past two games.
Yeah,
Kind of wonder, like, is he gonna get playing time with America if he doesn't go?
yeah, yeah. And that was a big deal about this game too. It was America had a extra slot for a foreign player on the bench. Miguel Herrera opted to not take Silvio Romero, send him to the Tribuna, and I guess kind of making a statement in a way saying he is not part of the team anymore in the sense that he is not in the plans. And it looked like for the meantime that it looked like, well, that means that he's leaving, correct? Well, it doesn't seem to be that way. There is no team at this point that will fork enough cash for America to say, okay, take him. What are your thoughts? Do you think America should just settle for, I think they said about 4 million for Silvio Romero, or should they try to get as much cash as possible?
I would just settle for the 4 million if it was me, because you talk about when we go ahead and brought up that America isn't the big financial power that they used to be. Anything coming your way is now, especially with strikers on the radar right now that you're looking to bring in too as well. Possibly have to sell a player to buy a player. It seems like right now.
Yeah, yeah, and we're not saying that we're brokers or anything that we know exactly how the financial business goes, but um, if if that's the case, that America is maybe not so much worried about the money situation, then I think sell Romero. You're still gonna get some money off of it. You're gonna get him off the wage book, which means you're not gonna be paying his wages anymore. That's got to be a bonus. And that could definitely be used for another player, or maybe I don't know what else they could definitely use it for in the club. Um, but just I think I agree. Take the money, go with it. You may not get the 6-8 million that you wanted for Silvio, but You're getting at least some of it. You're gonna get him off your wages. Just kind of roll with it, and then it'll be what it'll be. And hopefully that means that we can bring in that extra striker that we also want so much.
Yeah, I mean, because you look at the likes of the that you have on your radar, like Jackson Martinez, and like you even had Luke De Jong at one point on your radar. So I mean, like somebody to get somebody, and we already have Oribe Peralta, you have Henny Martin, and you have who can also play that striker position, and I think Mendes too as well can also play that.
Mhm.
So if you keep in Romero, you have 5 strikers across the board right there already. And so, I mean, do you really need the 5 strikers? I mean, somebody's gonna be at the club unhappy with their playing time. Either
Yeah,
way.
and it's they're called Rich Marin and Alex Elwaro Diaz, who looks like they're not gonna get any game time this season. Very unfortunate. Of course, these two obviously come from the cantera, but just kind of really haven't shown the best side of them. Going back to the Romero thing and the striker thing, yeah, I think get rid of him if you can. If you can't, I guess we're gonna have to stick with him, and I mean at least involve him here and there. You never know. He could uh, he could spike in form and have a pretty decent season if given the case. But you did talk about strikers. It looks like the latest name to pop up in America's radar is Roberto Soldado. Um, Ex Villarreal striker, ex Real Madrid striker too, playing Real Madrid for a while. Ex Spurs striker as well too. So, what are your thoughts about Roberto Soldado possibly coming to America?
He still plays.
Yeah, yeah. So the Spanish forward still play.
What?
He's playing in Turkey. He's playing in Turkey right now.
Oh my gosh! I thought this guy like retired a while back. I
Yeah,
didn't know he was still around.
yeah. He's not that old actually. I think he's probably like maybe 31 or 32. Uh, Probably Fernando Torres' age too. Um, So, I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, Roberto Soldado, to be honest, he is a player that does not fill me with confidence. I feel like he's going to come in and he's just going to be another Silvio.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think he's a good option. I think you're better going off possibly getting Jackson Martinez or who were the other 2 players that we discussed too? I forgot which ones. I know
Mitro,
Jackson Martinez. Yeah, Mitrovic and
Dembaba, but even Dembaba doesn't fill me with confidence.
yeah, even Denver. Yeah, I mean, Denver Bond like and South.
Soldado?
I just feel like there's gonna be like another Romero
Yeah, yeah. I
to this
mean,
team.
at this point, America, if you're going to buy, don't just buy to buy. I mean, anyone smart enough will tell you not to waste your money like that. Yeah, I get it. You want to fill the fans with excitement and be able to give them something, but you don't just buy just because you want to bring in a quote unquote big name. You bring in Soldado, he is not going to sell the jerseys that you want him to sell. He's not going to be the big name. If you were to bring in like Fernando Torres, that's a whole different story. But I mean, you're kind of getting the third tier of Fernando Torres with Roberto Soldado, who I mean, granted, had his season at Villarreal, did pretty good, but ever since hasn't really been on the radar. So I mean, you want someone good, go out for Mitrovic. I think he'd be pretty decent. But at this point, don't just buy to buy. I think it looked like it. Well, De Jong is definitely a no at this point. They said that he's not leaving the January, but it looks like if America wants to pursue him on summer, he's all ours.
There goes the panic mode that you said. Buying panic
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we talked about too in last episode. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's just not something exciting that we're hitting right now.
yeah. And look. I know the fans want a big name striker, someone who can score and partner up with Oribe. Great. But don't just buy to buy. I mean, at this point, I'd rather us wait to get Luke De Jong in the summer and kind of just give Henry Martin, the opportunity to shine than to force a player down the fans' throat that will probably just end up flunking. I mean, you look at a striker that has been mentioned because apparently America has 16 to 17 different strikers on their radar. I mean, you should not have so many strikers on your radar. Just focus on four and try to get those. I mean, at this point, the best option was De Jong. Weren't able to get him. At this point, I think it's Mitrovic. If you can't get him, then go on to the next guy. And if you can't, then just kind of cut your losses there and say, okay, maybe we can bring in, I don't know, maybe another, I don't know, a left back. I don't really want to do that to Vargas, but someone else. If you really want to bring in another player, if not, then just give him, give him the time.
Yeah, man, I can agree. I'm kind of happy right now with the way the squad is. Especially with Menez and Ibargüen coming in soon. It's just with everybody. Especially with Menez and Ibargüen coming in, how they turn out, how they fit in the squad. Other than us kind of being somebody else into at the moment right now too, because we've seen Oribe and Henry Martin. I don't want to just throw Henry Martin off to the side and him just lose his form, and then everybody expect him scoring week in and week out. I'm kind of happy where we're at right now, but I wouldn't mind bringing another striker too as well.
No, yeah, yeah, I get that. Completely agree with what you said. With the whole striker situation that's going on right now in America. Um, I know you probably heard about the Raul Jimenez loan deal that America tried to get through. Of course, fell out because Benfica absolutely said no. Um, just so frustrating to me. Like, let the guy go. I mean, he's just trying to get some game time before the World Cup. Um, which will lead me on to this question, which I know a couple of viewers will definitely be thinking this as or asking this as well. Do you ever think that we could see Raul Jimenez, Miguel Ayun, or Diego Reyes come back to Cuapa within the coming years?
I think so. I think especially if they want to kind of like I guess you could kind of say their you could say in a sense,
Yeah,
because I mean these are three players that are not getting a very good amount of game time right now with their respective clubs at the moment. And at America, these guys were like almost club legend, not necessarily club legend, but like legend, just playing through the team, coming through. Raul Jimenez and probably Diego Reyes, you could probably say almost club legends because they actually grew up with the club and stuff like that.
yeah,
I think he before he had left to Italy. I know he played in Italy for a little bit,
yeah. I
and
think
then he
he
came back to America.
Yeah, he came off the ranks, I think, from Veracruz. I'm not too sure, but he played in Veracruz, went to Atlanta, and then came back to America.
I mean, these guys already know what the deal is. These guys have with the national team at least, and so they know what's at stake whenever they put on that jersey. They know how to perform, and so I'd love to have them back, especially Miguel Ayun probably, But I hate to do that to Carlos Vargas. He's doing pretty good right there, left back position. But if we really need somebody, it's gonna be Miguel Ayun that we need.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with you. I to be honest, I don't want to see these guys back until maybe they want to end their career. But at this point, well, just bring them. I mean, they're having a hard time. They're not the only Mexican that's having a hard time. Um, would have loved to see Jimenez come because it would have gave him game time. It would have got him fresh for the World Cup. Would have been great for a Henry Martin, Raul Jimenez, and Oribe Peralta duo or triplet. Unfortunately, Benfica did not want to cooperate. They said no, and that's kind of that. Um, I mean, for the fact that Diego Reyes, I think he's starting to win himself back into that team. Let's see what he can do, and hopefully the manager will respect that and give him more game time. It's very unfortunate what Miguel Ayun is going through right now. Of course, we know that Porto do not want to let him go. There's been a pretty good amount of clubs that are interested in the left back. Starting to see a little game time here and there at Porto, but I think he's the one player that every Americanista would at least like to see come back in his situation.
Regardless of their playing time, Juan Carlos Osorio is going to call them up, for the upcoming friendlies and even for the World Cup, regardless of what kind of game time they're getting.
Yeah, because I mean they're
Yeah, well, Juan Carlos Osorio just likes Diego Reyes too as well.
yeah
He's for sure getting a call up in Galeon, because I mean, who else you get to play that left back spot? You know, the only person that comes to mind possibly is Jesus Gallardo.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's going to pick Miguel Ayun, and then plus, you know, Raúl Jimenez is supposed to be the guy that's supposed to after Chicharito probably, but at the moment, you know, it's kind of hard to say. Chicharito's still there, being the face of El3.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna take a lot for Chicharito to get knocked out of being that face and that starter with Carlos Osorio. Um, we kind of went on a little tangent here, but let's kind of close off this transfer talk with two players, Daron Quintero and Cecilio Dominguez. Daron Quintero, we know America has put a very very expensive price tag on a player who has not showed at least to be worth at least half of that price tag that America is asking for. And Cecilio Dominguez reports saying that he has asked to leave the club, yet there is no team that is offering to buy him. What are your thoughts there?
Um, sucks. It sucks for them, I guess. They don't want to perform, man. Let's just send them to the reserves. Send them on down.
Send him on down.
But no, I mean, it's just it's frustrating too. I guess for the club, you know, because the club got these players for see them perform to help the team win championships. But yeah, you're not seeing them produce like you say, have the end product that they really need. We've seen them produce, but just not consistently like we want them to.
Yeah, and it's frustrating. And the most frustrating part about it is we bought Daron Quintero for a ridiculous amount of money. Who in the Pelaez industry thought that was a good idea? Granted, he was a great player in Santos. And second, Cecilio Dominguez, what happened to this guy? I mean, it looked like he just fell off the face of the earth and came back as a different Cecilio Dominguez. You know, he looked exciting. He looked passionate. He looked hungry at one point. Now it just looks like he's just walking around on the pitch. Like, does he not know the number he is carrying on his back? What that means to a team like this? Like, someone needs to go and tell him, look, either you play up and you play to that standard, or you change jerseys because it's not acceptable that our number 10 is slouching and looks like he can, it looks like he doesn't even give a damn anymore.
Yeah, no, it's just what's like. I mean, like you seen him have like what about maybe 4 games, good games to start the Apertura, and then he just like slowly in his decline, like he's just like at the end of the roller coaster. Where's the
Yeah,
end product from this guy? And yeah, I mean he battles some injuries too as well and stuff. I mean, but like, where's the end product from this guy these past 2 games and the previous games before that too as well?
yeah. I think if you're
There's
gonna
nothing
wear,
there.
yeah, I think if you're gonna wear a number 10 jersey, at least live up to it. You know, at least try, show the fans that you're trying. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of Americanistas are frustrated off that too because the 10 is very sacred to us, especially the last big player that we consider an idol to be. Of course, it's just it's frustrating. Darwin, of course, yeah, I don't think we need to go on that topic anymore, but you know he seems to be a Miguel Herrera player. Looks like we're gonna see a lot more of that on Quintero. So I mean, just kind of throwing that out there. People expect to see a lot more of Darwin, unfortunately. But I mean, hopefully Miguel Herrera can get to this guy because when he can play, we know he can play. Just it's a matter of fact of him actually wanting to do so. So um, I'll end the. I guess we can end this transfer roundup on this. How much money would you pay to see Cuauhtémoc Blanco come back from retirement?
No, oh man, give him as much as he wants, man. Give him as much as he wants.
Give him half my
Just
soul
I
and let
don't.
the guy take over.
Yes, yes. Oh yeah, I would agree to that too. I'll give him half myself too.
I mean, God, what, man? I guess only podcast where you can dream of a Cuauhtémoc Blanco coming back.
That's right, man. Only here. at the Eagle Eye podcast.
All right, well, let's jump into our preview of our first Clásico, the Clásico Capitulino, of course. Quote unquote the second biggest clásico for us Americanistas behind the Clásico Nacional. So we're going up against a very, very good Pumas. Let's be honest. You even texted me on Sunday saying, okay, I think we should be a little nervous about this matchup. They absolutely destroyed a relatively weak Atlas and definitely got a result against Pachuca away at Hidalgo. What's I guess what are your initial thoughts and emotions going into this? It is a Clásico, so what are you feeling coming into this game?
I'm feeling a little nervous. Nico Castillo just went off on this game. 2 goals, 1 assist, is two like that, and this is a healthy Nico Castillo. This isn't the Nico Castillo that we saw. This isn't the Nico Castillo that we saw in Apertura. This is a guy that is coming out hungry too. Score some goals, have an assist, do whatever he can to help the team get the 3 points.
I think you're right. This is a hungry Neri Castillo. Look at me trying to make him Mexican. This is a hungry and determined and looks like he's out for revenge Castillo. Um, Obviously, should be definitely the main threat for Pumas. It just looks like they've had a pretty good start to the season. The team's looking like they're playing well. What I think America should definitely not be candidate as the favorites. I think going into this matchup, everyone's going to think Pumas is coming into this match as favorites, not only because they look better in form, with what is it, 6 points, right? They have right now because they won both games, but also they're at home. Um, so let's kind of preview this. What is your? I guess we'll just go right into this. What do you think the lineup's going to be for America?
It's going to be Marchesín in goal, obviously. Edson right back. Bruno Aguilera, Carlos Vargas. Let's see. DMs. This will probably be a little bit of surprise, but I don't want to see Guido and Joe Corona. Possibly both. That's what I'd like to see, and then Uribe and possibly the left, depending how the formation lines up. And the right, it'd probably be Darren Quintero again. I hate to say it, but probably will be. And then up top would be Uribe and Henry Martin as well.
So what's your, is it 4-4-2 or what's it going?
To me, it's kind of hard to say, really. I guess you could say it would be a 4-4-2 because, I mean, like, after the game, too, as well, we could probably talk about this separately, or, if we run out of time, we don't get to talk about it right now. But, like, of an asset is Joe Corona at the moment for America. You see Joe Corona come on for Darren Quintero in the last game, and look what Uribe did for America. He assisted that goal to Henry Martin. He allows him to roam a little bit more freely, like he said, drifting off to the left a little bit, going forward and stuff like that. And, it helped create that goal. So there's a drive by himself, So to me, I'd like to see Joe Corona in that starting 11 a little bit, seeing him help out Guido, because next podcast, because I'd like to see him one more game. But how much of an asset can Joe Corona be to this starting 11?
I think the way Miguel Herrera seems to like him very much so. I think that's a good shout for players. I had made a starting 11 previously, I think yesterday, with Paulo Aguilar, and now that he is not and he's been confirmed, I think it changes a lot. And I'm still gonna go with this and brace with me. I think I might be a little bit off, but I think this is definitely a real possibility. I think Piojo Herrera going into this matchup, he is going to be cautious. He is going to be a little bit worried, and when that happens, America comes out with a 5-3-2, and I think that's where we're going. We're going with a 5 at the back, three in the midfield, and two up top. I think starting 11, of course, Marchesín in goal. Right back, this is where it gets a little crazy. Right back, there's no Pablo Aguilar, and I don't think you want to see an Edson Alvarez playing right wing back. So I think Renato Ibarra starts there on the right wing back. Uh, Edson Alvarez, Bruno Valdez, Eric Aguilera, and then of course you give Carlos Vargas the left wing back position. In the midfield, I think we're gonna see the likes of Guido Rodriguez, Joe Benny Corona, and Daron Quintero, which Daron Quintero is gonna have more of a free role. Up top, we're gonna see the most likely candidates, which is gonna be Henry Martin and Oriol Peralta. What are your thoughts when I tell you that lineup?
No, yeah, I mean, I agree with you that 5-3 too. Like you said, you're more cautious, and Miguel Herrera also knows this formation because we've seen him use it in America and also with the national team, and we've seen him get results with this too as well. Now, it doesn't also mean that we're gonna get a positive result. It doesn't mean we're gonna get a win with just this. It's just my question is make the mistakes and possibly get this win too as well with the draw in this game.
Yeah, and I think that's why Piojo will go with this back five because he might be a little bit worrisome about some mistakes. But if you make a mistake with a five at the back, you kind of have a player here and there that can kind of pick up from that mistake, hopefully. But I think Piojo will go with that only because I think he will be worried and that Pumas is gonna be a lot more offensive, and you don't want to risk that with only two center backs. Um, I think America should be worried about coming off a little bit nervous. Um, I think look, this is a Clasico. We know that. So I think the players have to go in with that mentality that nothing matters in a Clasico but the determination and how badly you want the result. That said, Seoul has never been a good place for us.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree with that. It's hard, being the away team too. Like we always said, it's hard to be in the away team going into somebody else's right now with the 3 points.
Yeah, for the longest time I can remember, we have not had the best of luck at Seoul, especially those bright and early 12 o'clock noon games. I think really the only kind of good results that I can personally remember was the one where Diego Lainez was playing and Cecilio Dominguez got the one and only goal, which was last year. And wow, this is really gonna be a long. No, actually, no. This is not. Actually, I take it back. It's not that long ago. But it was when it was in a Liga matchup where we went to Seoul, and I think we scored like 4 goals. And Miguel Ayun, I think, got himself a golazo from a free kick spot. So I mean, but they're very sporadic. They don't come in bunches. Those results. So um I think America has to be cautious. I think what do you think America needs to do to walk away with 3 points in the Seoul, which I know sounds like a lot, but what do you think America can do to end up getting 3 points?
They're gonna have to contain Nico Castillo. I bring that up time. I bring that time, and like I told you, um, the guy. This is a healthy Nico Castillo. We see what Nico Castillo can do whenever he's 100%. I mean, this isn't going to be the Nico Castillo that you played in the Apertura whenever you beat them. And this is the Nico Castillo that's going to come out scoring goals, making runs, doing what he can to help the team get the 3 points. Like I said,
Yeah, I think that's very important. Keep Nico Castillo at bay, kind of shut him out from his options. I think America is going to have to be very, very precise with their pressing. This is a Pumas team that can get you on the break, and that seems to be a little bit quick to the ball. America needs to be smart how they move and kind of dictate the play. You will probably see in America kind of hold off from kind of attacking Pumas, maybe soaking the pressure a little bit. Not ideal, but I think that's Miguel Herrera's tactics. I think America's best way of winning is just get Henry Martin to chase down the ball. He will run and he will chase it. He looks determined. And this is a game where I would want to see Oribe Peralta come out as a star player. We didn't show his best of side in against Querétaro or Pachuca, even though he got his goal. I think he has a debt with the fans to perform better, and I think this is his game.
I mean, possession football too is what we're gonna have to play too as well. And if we can consistently play possession football for the full 90 minutes of the game too as well.
Yeah, it's not gonna be easy. I think we know it's not gonna be easy. Um, what do you think is a fair result? What do you think is a reasonable result? What do you think America is gonna walk out with?
A 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Wow, I don't have so much confidence in the scoring 2 goals. I will be candidate and be optimistic and say America walks away with a 1-0 victory over Pumas. And I won't say who scores the goal, but I think it will be roughly around the 60th minute to 70th minute mark. We score that only goal. It's gonna be a very, very torturous game to watch because it's gonna be a lot of Pumas pressing and battering at the door and knocking. It's just Marchesin's gonna have to be on top of it. The defense is gonna have to be on top of it, and hopefully the strikers are ready to pounce on when we have an opportunity. But this is something that we should also mention. It looks like we might be able to see a Jeremy Menes or Ibargüen cameo.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to that the most. We've seen them uh, with the America Twitter page. See them training and stuff like that. Them being on the America Twitter page and everything like that. So it's looking good so far. Let's just see if it's just one of the questions is who do they replace off the bench. Um, so it'd be interesting to see who's left off the bench, who was on the bench too as well, and if they both make the bench too as well.
Yeah, that would be nice and interesting to see. And here's a good shout for you. I think I'm pretty sure Diego Lainez is going to make the bench for this game.
Okay. Did you like read anything about that or?
He was in practice and he looked up for it and I don't know. It looks like Miguel Herrera was making him do a little bit of the finishing drills. So it looks like Miguel Herrera probably will have Diego Lainez on the bench for this game. I mean, it would be great to see him. He's from the youth academy. He knows what it's like to play against these games. Obviously a rival. Um, so I mean, and he's always had pretty good performances against Pumas. So, would be nice to see a Diego Lainez come in and kind of show up and perform, which is the most important part. So, I think a lot of good things possibly coming up from America if they play their cards right, and I think that's the most important part. Um, will not be easy. Will definitely not be easy, but hopefully, we can definitely get away with a victory. So, do you want to mention maybe a time where we've played at Seoul that you remember walking away with a smile on your face?
Actually, I don't even remember one actually.
I'll give you one,
So
and this to this day I still remember it very clearly. It was the 2007 or the 2008 clausura, and we went to Pachuca. I mean Pumas to Seoul. It was an early game, just the way that they always are, and we won that game 1-0. And it was Germán Villa who scored a goal from outside the 18-yard box, I believe, and put the ball past Sergio Bernal. For those of you who still remember who that guy is, um, and America walked away with 3 points. And that was to this day, that game still sticks in my head, and that goal sticks in my head. America were wearing the blue jerseys back then, so for that game. So it's always happy to go back and think about that game and hopefully get get the same sensation coming up this Sunday. Which also has a time change for. So those of you who thought that the game was going to be 10 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Central time. The game's actually been pushed back a couple of hours, so it's gonna be 2 p.m. here, 4 p.m. for you. And I think the reason why they shifted was so that this obviously it's a Clasico, and they want to utilize this to get as much views as possible because, of course, like we mentioned, it is a big opportunity for America to make a debut for the Frenchman Jeremy Menes.
Yeah, no, that's an obvious, pretty good reason too. You know, for Jeremy Minutes to debut and Ivatic win too as well, possibly to debut.
Awesome.
I'll be keeping up on my eye for that. So, yeah, but it just depends on if I decide to stay here or go home for the weekend. Which, if I go home for the weekend, I'll probably be surrounded more by American football than Mexican football.
That is true. It's getting to that peak time where it's almost Super Bowl fever time. Well, it's actually Super Bowl fever already.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
so shout out to the NFL if you guys watch. I know you guys are probably all big Americanistas fans. Um Shout out to Hernando Villa too for that goal. Hopefully I wonder what that guy's doing. I think he's a broadcaster at this point. I don't know. Shout out to everyone watching this too, who joined us on the live stream. Um, Swag Luigi 08 asking us to shout him out. Shout out to everyone actually, really who joined the broadcast today. Um, Let us know your thoughts and initial reaction about this Pumas game. What do you guys think the result's going to be? Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. I left the Twitter handles down there in the description down below. Follow me, follow Dylan, follow the podcast itself. We're definitely on Twitter. For those of you who can't catch the show all the time on Tuesdays, don't worry. We're on iTunes. We're on SoundCloud as well. So for those of you who kind of have to maybe miss half of the show or can't really make it on Tuesdays, don't worry. You guys will have all that stored and available for you guys as we are on those platforms as well. So, anything else you want to add to the Pumas preview matchup?
No, not to the Pumas review matchup. Just something I want to correct myself on that I was wrong about. That kind of like irrelevant, but I had said that Romero did not make the bench against Querétaro or Pachuca, but he did make the bench against Romero. Just kind of want to give nobody and just clear that up. That I was incorrect about that, and just wanted to make it right now.
All right, yeah, no problem. Thank you for that correction. Anything else you want to add to? No, you said no. Sorry about that. Alrighty. Well, I guess I'll. The last thing I'll add is it's a Clasico. America, I think it's important that they know. We got a result last year. I mean, in the Apertura against them, it was not the best result. I mean, the best performance towards the end, but we got that result. We want that. We want that, and we want them to continue that form in the Clásicos. It's gonna be a nervy game, like I said, but do not get discouraged. I think the best result here is definitely a draw. I think me and you can agree that a draw would probably still be a pretty decent result walking out of Seul. But of course, you want all 3 points because you have Tigres, you have Monterrey knocking on the door. You also have, I think, Pumas themselves, Cruz Azul. So it's you kind of want to start off early, pretty good.
Yeah, let's hope we start off the same way we did against Pachuca, like you said, but we play it the full 90 minutes. Minimize the mistakes too as well. That's the number one thing in possession football.
Yeah. The most important part would definitely be hold on to that ball. Make them chase it. Don't be the chaser at this point. Hopefully Miguel has that down. But the team looks happy. They look comfortable. Henry Martin still looks hungry and he looks motivated. So every time you see him on the training pitch or you see him post something, it looks like he's definitely very determined to shine in this team. Which I think everyone could be happy about that. Anything else? Um, oh yeah. Quick shout out also to Ronaldinho. Very sad in here at the Eagle Eye podcast to hear that one of the greatest, I think, players of all time. Maybe he won't be remembered like that for some time now. But I think a player that definitely changed the game, um, and really brought a lot of youth into the game. Made it quote unquote cool in a sense, and I think I speak for many people around our age that really love the game. I think saw this guy, on YouTube or in real life or on the TV, and kind of fell in love with what he could do on the ball.
Yeah, and I also think that Nike ad campaign where they gave him I think that was the first video that ever hit a million views.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was just it was just him juggling the ball, and then you see him like kick the ball and hit the crossbar, and that's the first thing I always remember Ronaldinho about, because that was my first saw of him, was that video, and it's the first video that hit a million views on YouTube too as well.
It was like the coolest thing to watch in the library when you were in elementary.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. It really
So
was because they at that point YouTube was barely coming out, and the school didn't know how to block websites just yet. So it was cool. It was definitely cool to see that. That memory will always happen. Um, I will always remember Ronaldinho for the times he absolutely just destroyed us. I mean, he had a knack for making America's life a living hell. We played Barcelona in the Club World Cup. Um, Unbelievable performance from him. We lost 4-0. To this day, Ochoa still wants his revenge. We'll never be able to get it properly. The times he played a friendly match with us for AC Milan when he was playing AC Milan. Um, so and the times when he obviously came to play for the league and he played for Querétaro, how he humiliated us in our own field, like just ridiculous. But you could never really truly be mad at the guy for just doing what he did best, and that was bring joy to the screens and joy to the people, and he really demonstrated that. And granted, you could say whatever you could say about him and his party life and his life outside of football, but as a footballer, I think he will always be remembered for one of the best players ever.
yeah, it's especially one of the greatest Brazilian players ever too, right there next to Pele, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, and many people will think you're crazy and for saying that, and or whoever says that, only because he was not as decorated as Pele was. But let's not forget, Ronaldinho won a World Cup. He won a Ballon d'Oro. He won the Champions League. He won the Liga. Uh, Damn it, I think all he needed was the
He,
Liga
I,
MX.
I think besides the club competitions, because obviously he didn't play in like every league. I think he's won everything that you could win,
Yeah,
pretty much. I
yeah,
think if
yeah. He
like
won
Champions League, the World Cup, Club World Cup. I mean,
Club World Cup.
he's
Yeah,
won everything aside from like League Cups, like that. He's won everything that's there.
it's ridiculous. He's also has a Copa Libertadores. Let's not forget. I mean,
Yeah, and a Copa America too.
yeah, the guy is decorated to the max. I mean, granted, all of that
I mean,
aside, he's still
I mean like
he's Ronaldinho.
yeah, I mean like yeah. I wouldn't say he necessarily like better than Pele, because Brazil declared Pele national treasure. So all the European clubs that were coming for him, always got turned down because Pele was not leaving Brazil. So Pele is always known to play for Santos. Besides, whenever he went to the New York Cosmos,
Yeah,
what could have been of Pele? If Pele actually went off to Europe. It's just something that you could sit here and probably talk about and think about. For forever.
definitely. So huge shout out to Ronaldinho. Would have been cool to see Pele, like you said, but I think those are two different players at the end of the day. But it would have been cool to see what Ronaldinho did. So shout out to him. Shout out to another one of our viewers, Maria Alonso, who's out there following us today. Again, to every single one of you guys. Uh, located here or wherever you're located, really, that are tuning in. Not just on the live feed, but also for those of you listening to this on SoundCloud or iTunes. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for tuning in and growing and being part of this family. On one last note, huge shout out to Mr. Landon Donovan for landing in Mexico, playing for León, now officially announced. Wow, what were your thoughts when this actually came up to be true?
You see what Leon was doing, and then it ended up being just the jersey that they came out with, and so I'm like it's just like another marketing thing, business idea. And then the next day you see it like, oh yeah, Atlanta's gonna come play for us actually. So I'm like, what the hell, like this guy's coming out of retirement again. I mean, like I watched this guy a little bit, since about maybe, but I mean, like this guy is going down as one of the best United States players of all time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so it's just weird, at 35 too. You see Leon pick up a 35-year-old. It's just interesting to see how much he can produce and like what he can do for the club too as well.
Maybe 35, but I think he still has a couple of tricks up his sleeve. Hey, I mean, I take Cuauhtemoc Blanco, and I think he's what, 42, 43? I can't remember.
I think so, huh?
I don't know. I take him back in a heartbeat though. Get him out of retirement. He doesn't need to be in office anymore.
Yeah, in politics, yeah, man. It's crazy.
Let him do the Cuauhtemoc just one more time. Just one more time.
Yeah.
One day we'll have to sit here and talk about Cuauhtemoc Blanco and his shenanigans.
Yeah, dude. We'll definitely do that.
We'll definitely do that.
Yeah, we'll talk up about a separate podcast. Maybe on a different day, or maybe after the tournament's over, whatever happens.
Yeah, that'd be great. For those of you who have, he's actually 45. Someone just, Mario Alonso just let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, for those of you who want a good laugh, a good kick, out of this whole Landon Donovan thing, go follow Cosmo, the Cosmo from the LA Galaxy, the mascot. Absolutely just funny stuff on his Twitter about Landon Donovan signing with Leon, and you can see Leon's mascot. It looks like he's staring at him like he's about to eat him or something. So any of you guys who want a quick laugh, just go check that out there. That pretty much wraps it up for us today. Anything else you want to add for our listeners?
No, I'm good. I'm good as gold.
Good as gold, and gold, as we know, is the color of yellow, or I guess gold is his own color, but still, in the Eagle Eye podcast, gold is the significant color to yellow. Again, we want to thank every single one of you guys for tuning in to this show tonight. Wherever you guys are listening from, we thank you guys. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe to us, whether it be through YouTube, SoundCloud, or iTunes. We will get you guys covered for everything coming up in the league. Yeah, really nothing to add. Hopefully, Americanistas, let's hope out for the best. 3 points against Pumas would definitely be amazing. If not, I definitely take a draw away from that. So I want to thank you, Dylan, again for coming onto the show. Like always, great to have you here. And if I could, I give you the #1 co-host podcast award if I was to have that with me.
Well, thanks, man. It's my pleasure always to you having me here on the podcast, stuff like that, and us being able to get together and make this happen. Be part of the community that's growing strong.
Absolutely. Definitely growing in this Liga MX English community. Hey, if anyone knows of an English Pumas podcast, let us know. Maybe we can do like a little bet or something for the matchup. If not, I guess we can wait for another Clasico. Yeah, again, lastly, thank you for everyone who tuned in today, everyone who's tuning in every week. Thank you guys. Follow us on Twitter. We'll get you guys covered for everything. And tune back in next Tuesday just to hear our shenanigans and kind of have a recap of everything that happened in the Clasico Capitulino. It's episode 3 of the Eagle Eye podcast. I hope you guys have had a wonderful, wonderful time. I know we have. And at the end of the day, hopefully you guys have an amazing week. We'll catch you guys on Sunday through our live Twitter feed. We'll let you know exactly who's going to be taking over at that point. But with all that said, I think, have a good night, and we'll see you guys next time. So thank you.